Welcome back. And also thanks to Flint for this fantastic piece of formation flying. Your second wingman does that on every single takeoff, so I try not to touch the joystick too much at the start in case it leads to a collision.
Taking it to him.
Anyway, this is similar to the previous mission, but not identical, in as much as it's the same sort of idea. We've just got to get from one base to another, but while it's slightly ironic to say at the moment, in the middle of a dark hit wave, there's much less filler in this mission, so what enemies do exist are generally somewhat harder, and there's more capital ships, so your wingmen spend a lot of time swarming off and dealing with those. So overall, this mission's a lot trickier than the previous one. You know, it's almost about as hard as the penultimate mission in the game ought to be. Given that Wing Commander 3 is overall fairly easy, certainly much easier than Wing Commander 4, though I wouldn't say it's that much easier than Wing Commander 2. It's probably about the right difficulty. Anyway, I do slightly better than usual here with the Drouthy, at least from an interest perspective. I do something I often try but which rarely works, which is not going completely defensive during a missile swarm, but trying to alternate dodging with emptying my gun banks. It kinda works, but well, you just saw I ran into a missile, and it tends to lead to at least getting hit by one missile, maybe a glancing shot like I think that one was. It works very well if it means you can eliminate fighters before they can launch all their missiles, but I don't really seem to manage that too much here. The good news is that now Maniac and Flint have eliminated that Corvette, they will be coming back to help me deal with the fighters. They don't kill both Corvettes. The bad news is that all they really accomplish by doing that is managing to steal the final kill. And contributing to a storm of friendly fire, which led to me hanging back a bit because I thought it was safer.
More kitty litter. I'm hot today.
I think they have improved somewhat from last mission though. In as much as last mission they weren't even managing to finish off the Corvettes by the time I dealt with all the fighters, whereas this time, well, you're going to see here, this Corvette, if all Corvettes went down this fast, I would have no problems with them.
Armed and ready.
Break and attack.
Watch and learn, Colonel.
Break and attack.
Taking it to him.
More since we've seen that dot, isn't it? I think there was a wave in the second Hyperion mission, but I don't think we actually saw it. I think that I killed the carrier that they would have launched from before it launched them. So I don't think we've seen a full wave of 4 Vactoths at all, even back before the Hiatus was the last time they'd have been in the game. They haven't got any harder though, but they're still good fun in as much as you can generally hit them and you've got to give them a certain amount of respect because they've got a lot of firepower. So I like facing Vactoth, but it isn't particularly hard. And in fact, as you can guess by the fact that I just took time out while still facing the Vactoths to switch my missiles to friend or foes, they also aren't the greatest danger at this nav point. And of course the greatest danger will be the flight of Strackers that you have probably already guessed are coming up next. Just like last time, there's 6 of them, and since Maniac and Flint have just swapped off to attack a Corvette again, yeah, this is a 6-on-1. Basically with Strackers, a 6-on-1 is mostly about how good shape your fighter is in. It would help if I didn't collide with one, which is I think what happened there. And if you get lucky with any of the missiles. There's no death reports from any of the Strackers that I've flung missiles at, but we only kill 5 rather than 6. So I think maybe I did actually tag one with a friend or foe as well. Of course it might have run away while cloaked, but I don't really remember seeing enemy fighters run away much in Wing Commander 3, so I'm going to assume it didn't. And yeah, fighting Strackers after that, basically once you've killed the first 2 or so, it's dead easy. but it's just taking the damage and getting the hits in on those first couple can do a real number on your fighter if you're not careful. And once again, Maniac and Flint done a good job with the Corvette. Note here I did a shout and slide past the Corvette because I know you don't get hit when you do that, and the auto tracking missed. So that's something to remember not to do. But fortunately the fighter didn't actually take any damage during the barrage from the Strackers, so
Colonel.
the final nav point, which can get pretty hairy for a variety of reasons, should be okay. So, as you can probably guess from the sheer speed at which the wingman lost Cascade played there, Maniac dying is essentially scripted. The stealth fighter you can occasionally see around, that's the fighter that killed him. If you look closely at it, you may have to pause the video or something, you'll see that the paint scheme indicates that it's not actually a standard Stracker, it's a Stracker Ace, so it's Stalker. It's not listed as being Stalker, but nonetheless it's his colour fighter, so it'll have his missiles and more hit points and so on. As far as I'm aware, that fighter is spawned to kill your wingman. And I believe if you've already lost your wingman, it won't spawn. Or at least that's what all the guides say. I tend to send my wingmen home before that point, usually, but I felt that for the purposes of the LP, we might as well show you what actually happens. In any case, here I thought, well, those two are a long way away and they're chasing Flint, and Flint was holding her own, or seemed to be, so I felt, you know, let's kill a destroyer instead. I was hoping, actually, that I might manage to prevent the next wave of fighters from spawning, but that didn't work. Again, in the Kilrar series, it seems that the carrier effect doesn't apply, which is reasonable enough, I guess. If the fighters coming up from Kilrar or one of its moon bases, then destroying the carriers wouldn't exactly help you. Or, you know, one of the other many carriers the Kilrar actually have in this system. So yeah, you can see here Flint is basically holding her own. The Sorthak's taking damage. She's taking a bit of damage as well, but I think if I just let the fight play out, Flint would probably have won. However, I have better things to do than hang around and watch a computer play a game against itself, so I did not let the fight play out. Interestingly, the next wave of Dark Hits aren't in the CIC guide for this mission. I don't know if the person fighting it just got bored, or if there is some way to prevent them from spawning, but whatever it was, I have never managed to avoid them, so I don't know how you would do that. Yeah, that's enough from you, Stalker. No zombie Korathi in this game. We killed you once already, seeing more Ace Strackers is not on the schedule. Actually it is, because they'll be back again in the final mission. This is a 6-on-2, so it's a bit better than the 6-on-1, except that I think I've got a 4-to-1 or maybe even a 5-to-1 distribution of Dark Hits that are almost all going after me rather than after Flint, because they all spawned in such a position that I was closer to them than Flint was. On the other hand, they are still Dark Hits, so the level of danger I'm in here is pretty low. It's just a question of managing to find a fighter to line up on takes a bit longer. But at this point now, after I've got a kill, Flint's got a kill, it's a 4-on-2. And a 4-on-2 is an extremely easy fight, even with Dralfy really, so with Dark Hits it's even simpler. Got a bit of a mystery coming up for you here, so do pay attention there at the back.
Mission objectives accomplished.
No, they aren't. I'm not sure why the game thinks the mission objectives are accomplished at this point. Obviously I can't autopilot to the asteroid base we're supposed to be meeting the Templar Bomb and our cloaking device at, because enemy fighters are present. So I didn't try ejecting at this point because this mission is pretty tricky and I didn't really feel like playing it a few more times to see what would happen. The only thing I can think of is that maybe if you have that extra stealth fighter there, then it's counting kills rather than how many fighters were left or something and thinks we've killed them all, but I don't know, I'm confused by that. It doesn't make much sense to me. Anyway,
I need clearance to land.
that is the mission, so thanks for watching. I've been Ilanin, this has been Wing Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger, and join me and Jade Star next time when we'll be doing the same thing, but without Splinter Maniac.